Welcome back, everyone, to Morning Line. Nick Barris here on a Tuesday. Our guest with us this morning is Barbara McGinnis from Tagus McGinnis. They're attorneys who handle elder law. It's good to have her with us. Nice to see you again, Barbara, and thanks for joining us this morning. You know, I think a lot of seniors out there were hoping that there might be another stimulus payment. You know, the first time around, most Americans, depending on whether you qualified, received a $1,200 check. Right now, they're talking about another relief program that's going to hit, but likely will leave that out. I know seniors are paying close attention to a Social Security increase, and usually there is something modest along those lines. But during the holidays right now especially, it really seems to put the squeeze on a lot of them as they're dealing with their estate and the like. And I know you don't per se deal necessarily with a lot of estate planning, but when folks are dealing with, you know, paying for their medicines and paying for their assisted living, especially in these tight times, are you finding that a lot of them are in a very tight spot?
A lot of seniors are always in a very tight spot because they are trying to live off of Social Security or other minimal pension plans. Some folks are never in a position that they could have saved and planned well for retirement. Some people grossly underestimated their financial needs during retirement. But some things that I'm going to pick up on that you talked about. One thing, the last stimulus check that we received, or that was approved, that $1,200 check that went out. If you were a Medicaid recipient, then Medicaid, you know, there's that $2,000 asset limit. Well, that stimulus check, you have a full year to spend that down. So it was, something that they didn't have to worry about spending in the first month they received that money. Don't know that everybody knows that. So that, if we get another check, I'm sure the rules will be similar. Another thing is open enrollment for Medicare Part D plan review ended yesterday, but our in-house Medicare counselor was able to save our clients over $225,000 in just Part D premiums and what their out-of-pocket medicine costs would have been had they not changed their Part D plan. I think that's significant. It's a significant way that people can help their budget each year by doing a Part D review. Again, it ended yesterday unless you're in a special enrollment, but next year, plan to do it. Even if you don't change and your medicines don't change, your plan coverage may still change, and you need to review that. So that's an every year event you need to mark your calendar to do, and that happens between October 15th and December 7th. So and yes, there will be a cost of living increase in Social Security for 2021. Of course, it is offset by an increase in Medicare Part B premiums. In fact, many seniors will find themselves to a net reduction in income because of that. It's not an exact, match there, the COLA increase and the increase in Medicare premiums. So a time to learn to say, it's not easy to be a senior, and we need to plan ahead and not hope for the best.
You know, when you have clients, and I don't know if they often ask you this one way or the other, they're older and they're dealing with what they're going to do next, and you're working out, as you guys do, an entire plan for them. If they ask you, what kind of considerations do you look at if they say, Barbara, should I take Social Security early, or should I hold off before I start collecting my full Social Security?
I usually take the cop-out answer and say they need to talk to their financial advisor. But my personal belief is that most people are going to be better off waiting as long as they can wait, holding off until not only do they reach their full retirement amount, which for me and probably you is age 67, but if we can wait longer than that, you know that right now it's going to continue to grow by 7 or 8% a year. So if we can push that out as long as possible, that's going to be a good thing for most people. If you know you have a shortened life expectancy, you may want to take early. There's certain considerations for taking it early. Perhaps you're just not able to continue to work because of physical or mental health issues. You need to retire and you don't have an adequate IRA or other savings plan that you can draw from. Right now, probably IRAs are earning more than that 7 or 8%. So you might want to leave that money alone and go ahead and take your Social Security. See why I tell people they just talk to their financial advisor about it. You know, that's probably really still the best advice.
Of course. But what you just said was right on point. I agree with everything you said there. If you can put it off, you can. Hey, listen, we have a question that came in, a message on Facebook. Just wondering about power of attorneys and the difference in the importance. I guess when you go to set that up, say for a loved one, and maybe you can give the definition of that. I mean, is there one that's more important? You don't want to do them both at the same time, because the two most common, I guess, power of attorneys are financial and medical. For instance, in my situation, pretty much my brother and I have financial for my folks to assist them where they need it, but we haven't set up the medical yet, and that's something I know I've talked to Tim about doing. Talk about the importance of perhaps doing both, or if one, I guess it's situational, is more important than the other.
Well, I would see no reason to not do both at the same time. But of the two, if you only had one signature in you, the durable general power of attorney for finance is really essential, because it can only be done while the person has capacity, and that is we're sharing authority at that point in time. The principal is inviting their agent to share authority with them to make certain decisions. A lot of times those decisions are spelled out in statute, and we call those ordinary powers. And there are some extra powers that can be incorporated into the document. So the agent can make decisions for the principal without removing any rights from the principal. And that's very different, and I think much more dignified, than the conservatorship process, whereby you either did not have a power of attorney to make those decisions, or for some reason that power of attorney fails. So the conservatorship is, once again, where we go to court and we're doing court supervision and decision making for another person. But of the two, you definitely need at least the financial power of attorney, so that those decisions can be made after the person loses capacity or has impaired capacity. The healthcare power of attorney, likewise, very important. It ordinarily does not take effect until the person becomes incapacitated, because medical providers are going to look to the individual for decision making as long as that person has the ability to contribute to the decision, right? If you're capable of making a decision about your health care, you want your providers to talk to you about it. You may feel comfortable enough to say, here's my family, here's my children, my wife, I want you to include them so that we can make decisions as a family. But still, that's your choice. If you become incapacitated and there is a medical emergency, there are surrogate decision-making laws that would allow for decisions to be made. But chronic healthcare decisions then are also going to require a conservatorship. So no reason not to do both. Let's get them both on the books, so to speak, while the older adult, the principal, has capacity to be making those decisions about who do they want involved. The other thing about the healthcare power of attorney that's so important is, once you've named your acting agent, then you have an obligation as the principal to talk to that agent about how do you want decisions to be made. It's much more detailed than just, yes, I want a ventilator, or no, I don't want a ventilator. And right now, in this time of COVID, we're all looking at making those potential decisions. So make sure you have your healthcare power of attorney, even if you're not chronically sick, in place.
Tell you what, I'm going to get on it. Listen, we'll take a break. When we come back, more, our final segment with Barbara McGinnis right after this.